Here we are. Good evening, everybody. Hey, good way to start the night. Day for some
Yes.
people.
Or end it, right?
Exactly. Get some people on. Let's go. Tonight's so important.
Absolutely. And how exciting that we are now on Spotify and Amazon.
And
So important
Apple.
to reach more
hmm
people.
Yeah, and please subscribe. That just makes us happy. Makes it worth it.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, this is what
Let's get it
episode?
started.
14. Yeah. Oh my goodness. We're going, and that was great news to open with. This is our is it 14? Yeah, I believe so. Episode podcast of Hear It Through the Grapevine, presented by IQMK Global and our premier product, which is Must Natural, 100% organic food derived muscadine grape seed and skins extract, a very powerful, if not the most powerful, fruit antioxidant. And we are very excited that we finally reached the numbers, the viewership, the interactions, and we are now streaming live here on Facebook as well as on our YouTube channel, which is Muscadine Global. And so you can always go back and listen to these episodes as we do them. And then these get uploaded automatically and promoted tomorrow, as Vivi already said, on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, any way that you usually listen to podcasts. So, welcome and thank you for all your support over the past couple of months. I'm in New York City. This is a great story. It's a testimony. Tonight we're going to talk about October's theme, which is breast cancer. But as
Mhm.
we know, breast cancer is a cancer, and all cancers have many things in common. But I'm here in New York City because a few weeks ago, nearing a month ago, I was in Accra, Ghana, and totally accidentally went into a restaurant, and I was with Kino from Big Mountain, one of our spokespeople, and we were sitting and chatting with each other, and the owners of the restaurant came to welcome us, and they sat and we talked for quite a while. And one of their key business items, and one of the things they're really excited about, is making antioxidant juices. So they make hibiscus juice, sour sop. And the one gentleman said, he can't live without a couple bottles of his sour sop every day.
Mhm.
And we said, oh, well, just thought, it was like, this is crazy. He's talking about antioxidants. And so we began to talk about Must Natural, and we gave him a bottle, and we talked a long time about it. So what was very interesting is that he actually, within a few days, experienced relief of what had been chronic digestive disorder. And so I'm in here
Mm.
in New York meeting a very close friend of theirs, to send 100 bottles of Must Natural to Accra, Ghana, to get a bunch of
Oh,
people started on the antioxidant pathway. So
yeah.
here I
That is
am.
amazing. That's a
Yeah,
great story. I didn't know that part.
yeah, it's a great story. It's really based on helping people. I was telling somebody the other day, the prosperity or the potential prosperity of any business, whether it's an MLM or online e-commerce, is great. It's always great, but it's extra wonderful when it's attached to such an amazing thing as helping people get healthier, and to have testimonies that come in, pretty much daily, from our growing circle of a couple thousand of people who represent and take muscadine grape seed extract, Must Natural Daily. So that's where I am, Tanya Abreu, and I'm in New York City. And Vivi, talk a little bit about where you are and what you've done and thought about this past week as we got ready for this
Well,
show.
we might have some new listeners, and since we're now in all these different ones, tell us a little bit about your background because I think it's important.
Oh, you know what? I should. Okay. Well, I've had,
Yes.
I started work when I was 5. So I have 34 years in healthcare. I began at a hospital, working at a hospital as a director of education and marketing and public relations, and really got excited about, my graduate degree had been in English and language and communication. And when I started working at a hospital, I realized, really for the first time, honestly, how powerful language was to help people
Hmm.
understand how to get healthy and how to have hope. And so I ended up working on an international project in the former Soviet Union, ended up becoming an executive at McGee Women's Hospital. Was there for more than a decade working on international outreach and education, and then started my own business, and helped about 200 plus hospitals create programs in women's health that it was called the Spirit of Women. So, really telling hospitals and physicians that we're
Hmm.
more than the sum of our body parts, that we're first and foremost spirit. We're first and foremost emotions and energy and a desire to be a woman and a mother and a wife. And it really worked. It really worked for about 17 years. Then I myself got very sick with late stage cancer, and I kind of retired and the business was sold. I really thought I only had 6 months to live 10 years ago, and here I sit on a whole new healthcare journey. Um, these podcasts, I never would have dreamed of them, 10, 15 years ago, to be able to share everyone's story and everyone's path to better health. So thanks for asking about me, Vivi. And what about you?
Well, and I think I met you when you were still at Spirit of Women, back in
Yeah.
Florida when I
Hmm.
made a trip to, and that was just amazing. And I remember reading an article from the magazine. But a little bit about me, I have been in education most of my life. I fell in love with youth development and child development. I'm a formal preschool teacher as well. But most of my life, I've sort of been coaching, mentoring, and in the training and development the last 8 years, where I traveled nationally and internationally to work with different teams to include children with and without disabilities and really just, empower individuals to know that we don't need degrees. We don't need to be experts in everything, that we just really need to focus on wanting to help others, in that there's so much that we can learn from each other, especially specifically in the disability community. So my journey with IQMK and Most Natural starts with you, of course. We've known each other for many years. And in addition to really what I've done, which has been a passion of mine, so I felt that all those years, although they were challenging, I never worked, because that's really was the passion, working with youth. But I'm a mom. I'm a mom of two girls. One is 1 year old, and I'm at a place in my life where wellness and health is just really been a priority, that I thought I was conscious of, but not. Now it's really at the forefront with all that has been happening. It has really set a path for now, really looking into how can I prevent, how can I empower, and how can I help educate. And so it's been a pleasure to be with IQMK, sharing some of those abilities, and really spreading this. So this podcast is also very exciting for me, because I really consider myself an entrepreneur, right? So exploring the the amazing world of entrepreneurship is something that's exciting, it's new, and it's always time for a new door to open and a new opportunity. So this is where we're here to
Yep.
share about how this has also changed my life personally, my health, and how I can see that in the future.
Hmm.
So it's been great to learn from awesome mentors like yourself and Mike and Lynette and everyone that's involved in this amazing community that we're building. So that's a little bit about me. And I'm in Rosarito Beach, Baja California, and I'm originally from Sonora, Mexico. So it really cool sort of binational opportunity. And my husband's from Haiti, so we're a multicultural, multilingual family.
It's
um,
exciting. The whole organization is global. And tonight, our program
Absolutely.
is really about a growing global issue, which is breast cancer. Um,
Yes.
uh, Depending on where you are in the world, and I think everywhere in the world now is getting its fair share. And there's lots of theories about cancer, and more particularly, there's a lot of theories about breast cancer. We know that there's genetic tendencies towards breast cancer, especially the more aggressive types. But we also know that there are breast cancer incidences that occur in very healthy women who have no risk factors, who breastfed their babies, who are of normal weight, who exercise, who eat well. And so there's lots of theories, and some of them are very scientific, that have to do with increased toxins, increased radiation, and our breasts, whether we're men or women, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well, really can, because of their being fatty tissue, right? Breasts are just generally fatty tissue, and those tend to hold toxicity for the
Yeah.
longest time. And then those things are also infused with hormones,
Yes.
estrogen. And estrogen, I learned a lot because my cancer was a woman's cancer, right? Of the
Mhm.
uterus. And so
Mm.
estrogen is this, like, it just makes things proliferate, grow, and
Yeah.
healthy things like babies. But
Yeah.
when you have cancer, those types of cancers, they don't need estrogen, right? They feed off of estrogen.
Mhm.
So breast cancer is really on the rise around the world. Now, the good thing, guys, the good thing is that your chance of dying from stage 1 or 2 breast cancer has been very, very decreased over the past 15 years, as so much
Mm.
money has been raised for research. Science has gotten much better with deciding what is a localized cancer versus what is a systemic cancer, and how
Mm.
to treat it. So modern medicine is getting better at saving lives. But there's a real issue, and that's what our whole life is about. Do we have to be aggressive with surgeries and radiation and chemotherapy? Are there ways to, number one, prevent breast cancer from happening or from affecting our bodies? And can we co treat? I would never suggest, I don't think anybody would ever suggest replace allopathic or modern medicine. But somehow, well, there are people that do, but I don't, because I've lived my entire life with a lot of really excellent doctors. That's how I worked on my stage 4, with really excellent doctors who embraced my what they thought were crazy ideas.
Mm.
But they said, if it's going to work, it's going to work for you. And they
Yeah.
supported me. But let's just say this: there is so much research on cancer treatment and food. And that's what
Mm.
we're here to talk about tonight. Um,
Mhm.
if you have cancer, you look everywhere for outcomes. And I know we have a cancer patient on the line with us tonight. We're going to talk with her in just a little bit, but you look everywhere. You Google everything. You buy more books than you can afford. You talk to so many people. You really are frightened. It's a
Yeah.
it's a traumatic diagnosis, and so
Mhm.
the very first thing that you do is you look to modern medicine instead of the things that seem almost too easy to be true. When
Mhm.
someone told me just eat green things, I said, you got to be crazy. You got to be crazy. But then I really met people who had changed their diet
Yeah.
to just green fruits, I mean, green vegetables and fruits, and
Yeah.
turned back, days of their lives into years. So I asked you to put a book in the rotation. I want to pull it up just for our viewers tonight, and it is, or our listeners. Um, this was an amazing book, and this was way before I met Kino. I mean, I've known Kino, but way before Kino told me about antioxidants and Must Natural, and way before I met Mike or had any idea that there was such a strong antioxidant on the market. I remember this book, and it's Fighting Cancer with Vitamins and Antioxidants. This is not some new idea, right? This is something that has been a part of the media, a part of the scientific community. Dr. Linus Pauling had to leave the United States as a medical doctor because he insisted that high infusions of vitamin C as an antioxidant and interferon could reverse cancer. And he
Mm.
proved it. But the system threw him out, and he, however, received the Nobel Prize posthumously a few years back for vitamin
Mm.
C in cancer research. So it's just, we're just continuing to learn and grow. But this is a kind of cool book, but there are so many of them. This is, I'm trying to read it, my dear. It's minimizing can you make it a little bigger? Okay, so maximize the
Mhm.
benefits of your treatment programs. Um,
Mhm.
minimize side effects from chemotherapy and radiation, and counteract the effects of x-rays, mammograms, cell phones, and frequent flying. So it's not saying that we're going to treat or prevent. It's saying that we're going to deal with things a little better. So I also want to turn you on to somebody that a woman I met with today who has lupus changed her life. And as you know, we've heard from some of our Must Natural lupus patients, but there's a doctor, her name is Dr. Brooke Goldner, Goldner. First name is Brooke, and she has a book called Goodbye Lupus. But she's all about the forks over the knives movement, right? You don't need to have surgery first. You need to change your diet and change the way your body functions first. And then maybe you won't need that surgery. She has reversed in her own self serious kidney disease, lupus, as well as a few other really serious chronic diseases in a young woman. Her books are available on Amazon, but I saw her on Instagram, and on Instagram, her name of her Instagram is Goodbye Lupus, Goodbye Lupus, and she is awesome. And the way she describes antioxidants and healthy diets and plants and vegetable lifestyle, and the way she also describes joy as a way to prevent and cure disease. That whole positivity we hear about all the time. So take a look at those resources right away. I don't know whether you are watching this because you're facing cancer, and if you are, we send all of our knowledge and our healthy energies to you. And we ask that you really pay attention to the power of antioxidants to prevent and reverse cancer cells. I know you guys are probably all tired of hearing me and Vivi talk about the research out of Wake Forest that has occurred with muscadine grape extract and the killing of especially hormone sensitive cancers like prostate, breast cancer, actually leukemia, and a few others that are very powerful and very common. So we really know that antioxidants scientifically have been demonstrated to create healthy cells. I believe that functional nutrition, right, eating to have function in your body, is really going to redefine medicine over the next 5 years.
Yeah,
Next
and
5 years.
I like that you said that, and I think that a lot of our listeners too may have heard the word antioxidants. And again, we have maybe a very basic understanding. And so, one of the reasons why, this is so important is because knowing what types of antioxidants and truly how important they are to fight, to prevent disease, and how important they are for them to really be a part of our daily lifestyle, that daily habit, right? As
Mhm.
we look at our meals, as we look at what we're eating. And so it's really important. And, this is why we're so passionate about sharing this information with everyone.
Yeah, I think what you said is really important. Eating foods that are high in antioxidant function, it should be a daily habit. It should be how you plan your meals, not how many calories you're getting, not how many, not how much sugar you're ingesting, but change that, take away that whole idea of, not having, not doing, and add this whole idea of food as functional medicine and eat for that. Um, can you, Vivi, walk us through the slide that does talk about food as functional medicine for people with breast cancer? I think that would be a really nice moment. And then we're going to segue into talking to a current cancer patient. Go ahead, Vivi.
Sure. So, through some of the research that we have, been exploring, we found, some top tips. And it is again, part of this collective, right? And it's just so important for us to have these in mind. And it may be like we look at an onion and we're like, yeah, an onion. But whoa, they have, you know, the capacity to reduce cancerous cells. So we're looking here, there's onions, of course, legumes, soy, cruciferous vegetables, nopales, spinach. Oh my gosh, now like there's so many. But anyway, look for those green leafy veggies, bok choy, and one exciting thing that we can look forward to is that actually has been part of my journey is look at ways to introduce them into our diet. I felt like, whoa, I thought that cilantro was just really for tacos and menudo, but it's my baby in the background. um, there's so many ways that you can use this. You can have a smoothie with avocado and cilantro, and I mean, there's just so many different ones. Garlic, we know, is a powerful, powerful food that we can eat. And I think throughout, this whole pandemic, garlic, ginger has also been very prevalent. But berries is one of our favorites, and one that I have actually discovered that yes, we can actually eat berries every single day. And since I've been on this journey to learn more about, wellness and health and muscadine and antioxidants and polyphenols and all these amazing things, this is really part now of my daily diet for my children.
Mhm.
So, strawberries, blueberries, grapes, of course, so making sure that we are consuming these daily. And citrus, we talked about the power of vitamin C, lots of different things. And yes, onions, and sometimes, again, some people prefer them cooked and some people, can eat them raw. But even if just throw them in there with some recipes, fatty fish, and stay away from, of course, those foods that are going to, just really compromise, right? But if we make sure that, these are the foods that are at the forefront of what we want to cook, or what we can start consuming if we're not, like my brother says, I just don't like vegetables. and so my mom, and this is a grown person, okay? This is a grown person. uh, but I mean, it's really about making that commitment, right? Making that commitment, and knowledge is power. It shapes the way that we move into life. We are in different paths at different times, and it seems to be that sometimes when something happens to us, that we sometimes wake up and we realize certain things. But that's why the education part for me is so important, and for all of us, because we want to raise a generation of healthy people, right? That can really look at different ways to treat themselves and to grow into contributing members of society. So, and I'm so glad that we are talking about breast cancer, because, um, and other times if I feel like if things are not happening to us, we don't really give them the importance, um, right, that they need. And it's good to educate everyone about so many things, from the preschooler that's just gone into school, nutrition, to the adult that's living on their own. Right. And of course too, all of us that want to take that preventive path. So these are some of the top foods, that you might want to add if you haven't, or you want to keep consuming and want to making sure that you, of course, doing the research on your own as well. What works for you? Okay, what works for your family, and how can you incorporate those high antioxidant foods into your lifestyle?
And certainly, if cancer runs in your family, and I'm going to segue just in a minute to Las Vegas, I think, is where you guys are. Um, I want to say that January 13th through 15th, this whole discussion on breast cancer and other cancers, and the power of antioxidants and functional nutrition is going to be a huge topic, because so many of our eye partners, those that both take and share Must Natural, are very much interested in being health coaches to other people. And in order to do that, we need to make sure that we are scientifically grounded, that we are credible, that the research that we quote would stand up to any medical school or any medical board in the world. And so please join us, whether you are currently an eye partner or somebody who is passionately interested in nutrition as healthcare, from January 13th through the 15th. One of the sessions that we have, is going to be called Health and Hope Through the Power of Food, and to really understand how food reverses chronic disease, prevents things like cancer, and understand it clearly and scientifically. So I'm excited about that. But we also know that many people, millions around the world, take antioxidants to prevent cancer. Right? They're taking these vitamins they buy at their pharmacy, and who knows what's really in them. Most of them are synthetic, even the ones that say whole food derived. There's lots of cellulose fillers and things, but most people are aware right now of that. And also most people are really aware of the genetic nature of cancer, and that it can be passed. And if you lose one auntie to cancer, there's a good chance that you'll lose another. So, my dear friend, my colleague, my co-IQMK leader, we're going to bring you on now, Lynette and Jazzy, who is our cancer warrior, if you will,
Yes.
or warrioress. So, Lynette, I know that. That's right.
We want
We're
to start
happy
off
to
with
have you here tonight.
showing her new tattoo.
Oh, I can't see it. Got to get closer.
This way. There we go. Wait.
It's an
It's
infinity.
an
It's an infinity ribbon in pink.
Oh, I do see it. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful statement, sweetheart. Well, let's get started. Let's get started. And Lynette, you'll introduce Jazzy. But Lynette, when I met you, and I was really trying to weigh the benefits of taking muscadine, even before it totally changed my health status, you talked a lot about why you started. So can you share that with our listeners?
Well, having been in fitness for 25 years, I've taught at the gym, and every possible remedy, every possible health, something or other, every possible diet has come across, to me, and I've been I guess, offered different opportunities. And just being respectful, I believe people have their own beliefs, and move on. So at the time, this was about 5 years ago, I wasn't on any type of supplementation at all. But I never got sick either. So I had a very strong, and resilient, immune system anyway. But this gentleman who was my mentor, my manager at the time, gave me a study that was done by Wake Forest University, $20 million, and it was just starting at that point. So we didn't even know what the results were, but the results were becoming very, I guess, promising, that it inhibited the growth of 7 different kinds of cancer. Well, I started taking this muscadine, and with the hopes that it would deter cancer from my life, because both my parents passed from cancer. My mother, bless her heart, lung cancer, and which is a really bad situation. Not that any cancers are good, but lung cancer, there's no pain receptors in your lungs. So by the time you discover it, it's metastasized all over your body. And in her situation, she had brain tumors. She had cancer in her bones, in her hips. I mean, it was just bad by the time we found out about it. And my dad suffered from stomach cancer, which, it's a horrific thing, because if you feed the person, you feed the cancer. So what are you going to do? Starve the cancer? You're going to starve the person, right? So it's just a horrible situation to have to, decisions that have to be made. So I watched both of them go through this, and I thought, man, it's on both sides of my family. It's gonna hit me eventually. So I might as well advocate for my own health, and maybe try to figure out what I can do to, I guess, lessen the probability that it's going to hit me as well. So I started taking the muscadine, not expecting any spectacular results, because how do you feel not getting cancer, right? You just don't. But there were other health benefits that I ended up, experiencing due to this. And then now, 5 years later, this 5 year study, $20 million strong, has now proven without a shadow of a doubt, 5 years long, that it does in fact inhibit the growth of 7 different kinds of cancer, and very, very effectively in breast cancer, right? So, and knock on wood, it's not knocked on my door so far. However, because it does run in my family, I do have I do have family members who are now in the throes of having to deal with, with not just the physical aspect of it, right? There's a psychological, there's a family issues, there's stress that's involved, there's financial, hardships that come, everything, right? It's just an overall,
Emotional,
emotional bubble
physical,
of
Oh, yeah,
spiritual, everything.
absolutely.
all right. So let me introduce my cousin. I love her so much. Her name is Jazzy Rivera.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome, welcome.
Well, this year I am. Last year I was going through mammogram, and this year, I mean, this time of the year, which is October, when I was discovered I have breast cancer, which is kind of like, at that time I was diagnosed October 27 of 2020, and then and now it's coming up. So I am right now in. Doctor said remission now, because both of my breasts was taken out, and I had well, before that I had my cousin Lynette. Prior to this, I already know her from the muscadine thing. She introduced me prior to my breast cancer happened. So she was telling me take this every day and all that stuff. So maybe at that time when I was listening to her, I would have like probably not even had the cancer, but I don't know that. But it comes with my genetic too, so I
Right.
don't know.
And we
So
all
my
share the
mom,
same genetics, basically.
yeah,
Yeah.
and my mom and my mother side, one of my family, my auntie died from breast cancer, and one is also having a breast cancer at this moment. So I'm kind of like introducing them also for this masculine thing. So it runs in the family, like what Lynette said. It's really hard physically, emotionally, financially, everything.
And
When I
here's the
was
sad part
diagnosed,
about it, not to interrupt you, but here's the saddest part about it is that when she was going through this, I didn't find out about it until she was having surgery. Why do you not say anything? You know why? Because it's a stigma, guys. This is
yeah,
something that we have to really bring to the
yeah,
forefront. It's not your fault. When you get cancer, it's not your fault.
yeah,
Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help,
yeah.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
One of the
yeah,
very nice things,
uh,
Jazzy, I just first of all want to thank you for your courage and your ability to talk, because I don't think when I was in the throes of, I was a secretive cancer person.
Yeah.
Just a few people knew, and I was living alone, and I got, and people who know me know how crazy I am about my pets, and I had to get rid of some of them because I couldn't care for them during, the stress of just figuring out what to do. So
Mhm.
thank you for being here. But I want to ask you, I mean, we understand, it must be incredible having a cousin like like Lynette. She's so passionate and so, powerful in her knowledge, but it's you, right? It's you that have to make the decisions that you feel are best to heal. And I'm going to ask you, because everybody is listening, what do you think you do differently now since you've been battling or managing or living through a cancer diagnosis?
well, like I told Lynette, I talked to her because me and my husband was talking about it. When I started, I'm taking. A doctor gave me this medication, says tamoxifen, which
Mhm.
is all kinds of. I read. I'm. By the way, I'm a nurse also. I'm a nurse, but we're the hard headed nurses. But anyway, I told her, I'm taking, all these kinds. So I read all of the side effects, like, hot flashes, all that stuff. So I'm taking, and then when I started the tamoxifen, I started with Muscadine with it. So I was taking it for at least 3 to 4 months, I think, and then for some reason I'm just being stubborn or something, so I kind of stop it. I was like, well, we'll see how it goes, because muscadine is kind of a little pricey, but let's see if I stop it for a little bit, and then all kinds of side effects went through. And while I'm on muscadine, I was okay. When I'm off muscadine, honestly, my husband said I'm crazy because I had really outbursts of anger, outbursts of pain. I'm always in pain. When I was in masculine, minimal pain because I just had a surgery. So of course, sometimes you cannot get through that pain. But when I get out of that, and then finally I said like, maybe I should go back. Me and my husband talked about it. Maybe I should go back to muscadine. That way, because we see the result of having it done without it.
Mhm.
So that's why I connected with her again and said like, Lynette, can you help me? Because I need to get back to it. So I'm kind of planning to how right now I'm on medical leave because I just had a surgery and I had an implant done from because they took out both of my breasts from cancer. And so I said like, yeah, let's get back to masculine. And then I did started with the extract 2 weeks ago. And I told her I have all kinds of like I'm sweating all night, overnight. I have really bad hot flashes. And since I told her earlier, it's like I only had one episode of the hot flashes that I had
Since she's been on
since I've
back.
been on to with
And I
I
just
mean,
want
she's
to,
like, "Are you been taking it all the time?" It's like I well, actually, I'm honestly, I'm just taking it like supposed to be twice a day, but sometimes I forget because I have other things I have to do. So once a day, I'm still
don't
taking it,
do
but I'm
that.
still
Don't
getting
do
the
that.
benefits.
Don't
I'm
forget.
still getting the benefits though, because I'm not feeling anything. And then my
Mhm,
husband said I'm more calmer.
mhm.
So I
Listen,
don't know.
And
I
it
want to
saves
be,
marriages too, muscadine does.
So I don't know because that's what he told me. That's
I
why he
just
said
want,
like let's get back to Muscadine. And
mhm.
honestly, I'm saying this. I'm not saying it because Lynette is my cousin. I'm saying it because honestly, I see the difference.
Mhm. I
I see
want to
the
just point out something because tamoxifen, as you noted, they give to anyone with what they call a hormone receptive cancer
yes, that's
because you go into immediate menopause, it shuts down all of your hormones, right? They give it to
mhm,
men with prostate cancer. It's just that, modern medicine knows that unbalanced hormones mess up cells.
yeah.
So, and this is where I'll be a little critical of modern medicine. Instead of balancing the hormones and helping people eat foods, mostly plant based foods, mostly rich in antioxidants that modulate the hormones to protect the cells, they just shut all the hormones down. And that is a
Mhm.
very horrifying. I did that. And, I continued just to ensure that my cancer was gone. I continued for a full 18 months on tamoxifen. And I feel you and what that felt like. I was a bruiser. I was mean. It was not easy. It was a good thing I lived alone.
And you
But,
can't control yourself too. So
yes, but,
And she's got a small child, which makes it even worse, right? It's
oh,
mhm,
harder because
wow.
you
Yeah,
can't lash out on a child that doesn't
right.
understand why you're so angry,
mhm,
Right. But
right?
the muscadine, I want to talk about its effect, right? We know that it has three things as an antioxidant.
mhm.
And and I just want you to be comfortable, everybody. We love our product, but the reason why our product works is that it is so effective as antioxidation, cell repair, cell protection, because it's an antioxidant. Okay, so that's interchangeable. Antioxidants like muscadine, but muscadine has all kinds of different, over 100 polyphenols, and they act in the following way. One, they reduce the damage to your cells. Two, they reduce inflammation in your body. And that inflammation that you were experiencing that might cause behavioral issues, hot
Yes.
flashes, all that
Yeah.
tends to lessen by eating enough antioxidants. And then third, to increase the blood flow. Everything is alive and healthy in our bodies because it gets enough rich blood. Muscadine is the premier way to keep our body oxidated with blood flow. So your brain was getting more blood. So you didn't have chemo, tamoxifen fog, all
Mhm.
those kinds of things. So that's really exciting to hear about it because just like that book that we pulled up that I read a long time ago about cancer, it can be a complementary thing.
Mhm.
A lot of people say, "Oh, my doctor." Just tell your doctor you're eating pounds of grapes every day instead of, donuts, and he or she will be fine.
Mhm.
I want to go back, Jazzy, because it's such a beautiful opportunity to talk to people. Outside of muscadine, outside of medicine, outside of things, what has made you brave?
What makes me brave? I guess I guess it's important because prior to this, I'm also already an advocate. I mean, supportive of breast cancer people. And in my family, I had breast cancer people and other people that died from breast cancer. Not just breast cancer, also a different
Different kinds of cancer.
cancer, brain, and everything. What really makes me brave is that you just gotta to be open minded, I think. And you have to be willing to share your testimony so that they can help other people,
That's right.
because like I said, if you're not reaching out to other people, then you're not really helping other people on how to get better and how
Wow.
to get, so I'm really trying to be an advocate for I'm a nurse, so I see this on my patients most of the time, especially when they just diagnosed with cancer. And I always said, because I went through it, you just gotta say, don't say you're gonna be okay, because you cannot be say you're gonna be okay. You're just gonna say one step at a time, because that's all you can do. It's gonna be tough, but you gotta be doing it one day at a time. And that's how I've learned for myself. And I'm practicing it to my as a nurse, and also as a breast cancer survivor. Now I'm in a survivorship now too. So it was really awesome because it's now I have something story to tell people, and I have to be brave enough to do it. I'm a talkative person, and my husband said I talkative, so might not might as well use my being talkative. And I'm always had friends everywhere, so I'm not shy. I'm always open. She knows that I'm talkative, so why use it? Use it in a good way, right?
That's
So
right.
here I am. So yes, I think that's made me brave is to help others. And also I even like told my daughter, she's 8 years old, I showed her my breast. And then and some people was like, why would you do that to your daughter? I was like, it's not going to traumatize her. It's going to let her learn that life is not just sweet. Sometimes there's difficult things, and she just need to learn and know that, hey, mommy going through this kind of stuff. And you cannot just say, I mean, you're open to other people, why not in your own family?
That's right.
Right? So
Mhm.
you gotta share your stuff with your family. And I share it with my daughter. I let her feel my breast, my new breast. And she goes like, oh, she understands. She's not
It's
scared.
body parts.
Yeah,
It's
it's a body
just
part.
body parts.
Yes. Even
We
though she said like, mommy, yours is like not real anymore.
She's Barbie now.
Yours is not real anymore. But it's like, but mommy, I love you. So you got that really make you strong,
Yeah.
because you as a person, you just be able to know and to help others, and to like probably you'll be able to inspire someone. I inspire myself. I inspire Lynette
You
inspires
inspire
me.
me.
I inspire everyone. And a lot of people was like, you're always smiling. You're always like us. Like there's nothing. I mean, like I went through bad times. No joke. I went through bad times. My husband thinks I'm crazy. I fight with my husband, but hey, out there, I'm still smiling. But
Right.
you cannot just be a bitter person. You just what I mean, not bitter, but like a bitter melon. But I don't want to be that kind of person.
And isn't it true? Isn't it scientifically proven that joy and happiness and smiling is the best medicine for anything
Mm-hmm.
that you're going through?
Well,
Yes.
it actually there's real reasons, right? It releases endorphins.
Yes.
Right. Right.
Endorphins release serotonin and other
Right.
happy hormones. Those do attach to cells and just make it all a better, healthier environment. When I was undergoing cancer myself, I one of my many 15th opinions was at the Cancer Treatment Centers of America. And they had gotten a lot of flack in the beginning of their time, but now they're the largest private cancer treatment medically based network in the world, and they of course now take all insurances, and they have amazing success rates. But I met with what do they call that, pastoral care there.
Mm.
And for every cancer patient that's there, every day they meet with these different departments. One is nutrition. I remember that now, really remember that. And they said, don't eat any sugar. Sugar grows cancer. Um, then one of them is, your radiologist, this, that, and then pastoral care. And I'm very academic, right, in many ways. And the gentleman that was the director of pastoral care had written a book. Oh my God. And I wish I remembered the name of the book or the man, but you can Google it. It's in all of his years of counseling people with cancer, he made notes of those that miraculously had remissions or total cures. Pretty powerful. So he had all of these anecdotes. And one of the things that they had in common was not positivity, was not resilience, was not a good sense of humor. Those all played a role. But one of the things they had in common was that they were able to forgive.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. I think
Yeah.
it's called the forgiveness factor. And they
Yes.
were
Mm-hmm.
able to dig back and find people that they hated or had problems with. And they were able then to forgive themselves. And it made for this like cleansing, this
Hmm.
cleansing. and the body just released all of this emotion toxicity. And when I hear you talk, Jazzy, it inspires me to do better with this company, because I think what we're creating is not just an extra job or a full-time job or any of those things. What we're creating is communities of people who genuinely care about each other and want to support each other through really horrible things that happen, not just health issues, and then really celebrate the good things that happen to each other. And I'm just thinking, about the chain of friends that I've grown closer to or made in the past 9 months of my IQMK experiment and commitment. And it is as valuable as any medicine has ever been for me, right along with the antioxidant, but
Mhm.
it's very, very powerful. Vivi, I saw you get a little emotional when Jazzy was talking about her daughter.
Yeah, and it's just again, those hard things, right? I feel like every stage of our life is going to require a different person sometimes, right? And it was interesting, and it made me think about, what we innately already possess. I think that many of us don't give each other credit for already being courageous, for showing up, you for your profession, but also showing up for motherhood, showing up in any way that we are required to do. And, this awareness that happens to, again, I have a friend of a colleague that I, did work with before, going through breast cancer, and she's sharing her journey, and that part of the journey to share, like you said, with your family. And as children are growing in the different stages of their life, they're going to be exposed, right, to many hard things. And I think that, having that communication, having that bravery, and being able to get them on a path, to help others, like you were saying, helping others. And it's so true. No matter what we're going through, I feel like, um, somehow, the universe, our faith system, puts us with this open doors of, moving forward, and then just bringing in the people that you need. And we have to allow that. We have to allow ourselves to get that help. We have to
Yes.
allow, ourselves to grow in different directions, and also to be okay with fear, and to be okay with not being okay.
Yeah,
Right?
that is so
In
true.
so many different ways. So that really, made me just feel like how important, this is for me to continue in a path of wellness, in a path of learning, and to share that with others. Because when we have purpose, it makes whatever we are going through lesser, right? We learned this too, and I'm really strong to my faith, into to looking at, how can we help others and show up also better for ourselves. So I also want to thank you for sharing and being open. And this podcast is real and authentic. It's not your fancy
Not rehearsed.
microphone thing yet. This is really words that come from the heart, people that are real. And what we share, it's just really what we're living in
Mhm.
the present. And that's what I really like about this.
And I want to thank you, Jazzy, and we hope to see you as an eye partner teaching people about this sometime
That's
soon, and
right.
coming to
Yeah.
Orlando and sharing your story. And it's really important. So thank you.
Thank
We
you.
are reminded by Agnes in the Philippines. Good night, Nanette and Jazzy. I'm going to put the screen a little bigger here.
Can-
Good night.
I have
Thank
one more thing.
Oh,
I have
please.
one more
No.
thing I have wanted to share. To end my thing, I wanted to tell you guys that, in spite of being in Muscadine and stuff, don't lose your faith. Like what Vivi said, don't lose your faith. Hang on to God. Hang on to your faith, because
Absolutely.
God is always gonna be there. That's why God put me in this business with you guys, I think there's a purpose for it. And
Yeah.
I think everything happens for a reason.
Amen.
Well,
So,
much health, much faith, and continued joy. And keep your cousin there in line, okay?
yes.
All right. Thank
Just
you.
Thank you, Jazzy.
thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Well, we would be remiss, and I want to make sure that we spend just a minute talking about the prevention of breast cancer. And Agnes in the Philippines brought up an excellent point. Things are that simple. Know what your breasts feel like. Know what's
Mhm.
normal. Know that a pimple doesn't go away, and it's getting harder and harder. Get that mammogram. If you're nervous about the radiation, there's a thermography, which is done with heat, that is proven to be every bit as effective. Um, you can also get a breast ultrasound if if you don't want to do the big squish thing. You can. There's all kinds of ways to have your breasts checked. Truly, prevention and early detection will save lives. We have a couple of things as we go out tonight, which Vivi, I think, has pulled up about how to, the risk factors that we can reduce to reduce our risk for breast cancer. And go ahead, Vivi.
Yes, and you may have heard or seen these, and this have been really prevalent in the last well, for some time now, but this one's coming out from UK and also the US, very similar. We want to be mindful of the alcohol intake. Right, we want to make sure that we incorporate movement, and we talked about it last time too. If exercise is a word that doesn't feel your vibe, movement, mobility, right? Let's just get up and move our bodies in different ways. Of course, that healthy eating habits. It's a lifestyle. It's so hard because I know I've been guilty of trying all these different diets. I've always been a thick person. I've always been an active person. I was an athlete, when I was in high school and in college. I've always loved different things, but it is a commitment that we have to make daily, even if it's 15 minutes, even if it's 30 minutes, just make sure we really bring in that mobility, that movement time. Minimizing or limiting the use of medication that, and it's this one says the pill. Well, and again, it's just doing our research, right? Sometimes we do something and it's not feeling right, and we just keep doing it because someone told us to. Well, no, we can go back and say, hey, this is not working out for me. So again, just looking at different ways to really take care of your body and reducing our exposure to harmful chemicals. And there's just this big movement now of especially those of us with little ones. We always are looking sort of for alternatives to clean our houses, and there's a whole bunch of natural ways that we can actually do that. But just minimize and look out for those things, because they add up. They add up, and these came up top because they can definitely reduce breast cancer in particular. So we want to keep those in mind, and we wanted to share those with you as well.
And thank you so much, Vivi. And we're closing ourselves out tonight. Those of you that have access to Spotify or any other podcast platform, Apple, Amazon, please look this up, and just put a little happy face or something on it, or pass it on to a friend. I did want to say that next week we are going to have a very special podcast on digestive disorders and muscadine and antioxidants and changing your diet. I am discovering more and more. I didn't know how many people had bad stomachs and pain
Mhm.
and chronic diarrhea or chronic constipation, and it's awful.
Mhm.
And one of the things that, and I think it's Sky that pointed out, we have a bunch of testimonials up at muscadinelifestyle.com, but people have said to me, like, quietly, I'm regular, in just a week. I can actually go to the bathroom every day, or I'm not having real problems with my belly, or I'm not lactose intolerant like I was last week. This is incredible. So Vivi and I are going to dig up some research, but more importantly, we're going to have some testimonials on how it works and how it's worked for some people, including our newest members, our newest eye partners in Accra, Ghana. It was a very big thing for them, and they're willing to talk about it. So we're very excited. We mentioned Orlando several times. Every one of us that's involved with the planning, inviting speakers, planning the fun, is getting more and more excited. And the more that we have there, the better. The more we can do, the more fun we can have. It's www.iqmkevents.com. And I'm going to give you a secret. I think it's still up. If you put in the code IQMK75, you'll save $75 on the already unbelievable like whole conference rate of $299, and that
Wow.
includes all your meals and the reception and the gala and all of the seminars, the workshops, and even kind of certification in the science behind muscadine. So we're really excited. We really are happy. I'm going to let Vivi, my mindful coach over here, close us out with a mindful thought. Everyone, take care of yourselves, defy cancer, keep the cells of your body healthy by eating like medicine. And it's delicious. It's wonderful. Once you stop eating the taste of processed foods, all the other stuff tastes better than cotton candy. So thank you, Vivi.
Absolutely. Well, just thank you everyone for being here. I know we went maybe a little minute out of time, but this was so great to have someone really share their story with us. And I want you to think of one thing tomorrow and the next day. And that is, what are you doing to take care of yourself each day? Okay. It's really important. It's really important. We sometimes, and men and women, moms and dads, young and old, we need to teach this to our children, and we need to practice it ourselves. We need to do something that fills our cup so that we can fill others. So with that, we leave you, and we hope to see you next week. And I'm so excited to see everybody in Orlando. We got our tickets, we got our flights. We're going.
All right. Mwah. Have a great night, everyone. See
Have
you
a great
next
one,
Wednesday.
everyone.
Message us if you need anything. Good night
Good night.
or good morning to some.
Yes,
Bye.
Philippines.